Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our daily debate. And our debate for tonight would be about the Egyptian-Greek relations, especially in the field of electricity and energy. That would be our topic for discussion for tonight. But first, we'll start with this report, with this top story. Then we'll take our report about the topic, where Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said the state was giving a great weight to the Suez Canal economic zone, being the main attraction of foreign investment and the gate to achieving sustainable economic development. Speaking during an inspection visit of the economic zone in the Suez Canal, the Prime Minister said that the state was keen on nationalizing industries and transporting technologies to the priority sectors, especially sectors that represent a decrease in imports bills. While a number of deals were signed during his inspection tour, which included the tour to El Sokhna Comprehensive Zone and the inauguration of a Chinese factory for producing the iron tubes with $150 million in investments. The tour also included inaugurating expansion of a Turkish company with $60 million in investment. Three oil and gas discoveries were made in Egypt's western desert and the Gulf of Suez. The Ministry of Petroleum made the announcement on Tuesday, while according to the ministry, the capacity of the well in the western desert are expected to be 30 million cubic feet of gas per day. And back to our topic of discussion for the debate for tonight, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi reaffirmed the cooperation with Greece on the electricity projects. More details in the following report.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met in Athens with the head of the Greek Copulosis group at his residence in Athens to review progress on the Egypt-Greece electricity interconnection project. During the talks, President Sisi confirmed the project enjoys a strategic priority and has full support from both governments, especially after being listed as a project of mutual interest by the European Union. This underscores the need to strengthen joint efforts among the various relevant authorities in Egypt and Greece to complete the project's feasibility studies and proceed with its implementation. The President emphasized Egypt's keenness on strengthening cooperation with the group in the field of electricity generation from new and renewable sources as a prelude to its transmission to Europe via Greece within the framework of electrical interconnection project between the two countries. President Sisi confirmed the strategic importance that Egypt places on this project, highlighting its role as a cornerstone in securing energy for European nations originating from Egypt, as well as its alignment with the comprehensive strategic partnership between Egypt and the European Union. President Sisi highlighted Egypt's commitment to strengthening cooperation with Greece across various sectors, including energy, electrical interconnection, transport, trade, tourism and culture. The two sides discussed the use of Egypt's upgraded power infrastructure and natural conditions suitable for solar and wind energy, aiming to position Egypt as a regional energy hub. During the meeting, there was an agreement on the importance of leveraging the modern infrastructure established and developed by Egypt in the electricity sector over the past decade, in addition to its unique natural potential. These factors qualify Egypt to be among the leading countries globally in the production of new and renewable energy, particularly from wind and solar power. This will elevate Egypt's status as a central hub for all types of energy exchange in the region. Meanwhile, President Sisi and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis signed a joint declaration on the strategic partnership between Egypt and Greece and witnessed the inking of several memoranda of understanding reflecting the depth of bilateral relations binding the two countries. The two sides reviewed means of enhancing bilateral ties, including intensifying cooperation within the East Mediterranean Gas Forum and the trilateral mechanism between Egypt, Greece and Cyprus. Following the talks, they chaired the first meeting of the High-Level Cooperation Council between Egypt and Greece, which tackled the progress realized so far in bilateral cooperation and the ongoing joint projects in various domains topped by electricity interconnection project between the two countries. The project represents a strategic step towards enhancing energy security in the region and European Union, as it is the first direct link for clean energy from Egypt to Europe via Greece. The talks also tackled cooperation in the fields of technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, legal migration and seasonal labor recruitment.
تقدير واحترام لبطل حقيقي. البطل ده هو مصر وشعبها. الحكاية مش حكاية لا حكومة ولا قيادة، ده حكاية كل مواطن في مصر. أكرمت مصر وشرفت مصر وعزيت مصر، انتم قتلتم. فالشرف كل الشرف والكرامة كل الكرامة والفضل كل الفضل لله سبحانه وتعالى، ثم ليكم انتم. شرفتوني واكرمتموني وعزتوني ورفعتوا راسي قدام الدنيا كلها باللي انتم عملتوه. والله 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 لن يستطيع اي رئيس يقف مكاني هنا انه يقدر يعمل حاجه بدونكم. لن يستطيع. قصه وطن يتحدث عن نفسه، شعب أراد الحياة فاستجاب له القدر.
Welcome back, our dear viewers, to shed more light on the Egyptian-Greek relations in the field of electricity. We are very much delighted to be joined here in the studio by Engineer Hussein Ghazawy, our energy and industry expert. Thank you so much, sir, for being our guest for tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Sir, President Sisi described the electricity interconnection projects between Egypt and Greece as a transformational initiative linking Egypt's clean energy supplies to Europe via Greece. How far the project's strategic value will benefit the Egyptian and Greek economies and the broader Mediterranean and European regions as well?
It is definitely a significant and strategic project. You are getting the green energy from Egypt to Europe via Greece. And the importance of this project, it's definitely describes the potential of Egypt as a reliable source of green energy. When you talk about energy, energy has to be affordable, reliable, accessible. The proximity of Egypt to Europe allow us to do that. The abundant resources of solar and wind to generate the energy. When we talk about this project, talk about 3,000 megawatts of green electricity. So we are building a green corridor for transmitting the green energy to Europe.
Yes.
This 3,000 megawatt, 1,000 megawatt will go to Greece, 1,000 megawatt will go to rest of Europe, and 1,000 megawatt Greece will use to produce the green hydrogen for green fertilizers like the green ammonia. So that's definitely the case. The project, it is significant. It already been accepted by the European communities, the ICP, PCI and PMI, which stand for Project Common Interest and Project Mutual Interest. That means the European community will be funding this project. We talk about 4.2 billion euro to qualify projects of this nature on this criteria. It's very, very strict criteria. It has to be, of course, energy or infrastructure project, and it has to serve more than one European country. So for the project to be qualified under this criteria, it is a success and guarantee of the funding for such project. When we talk about the benefit, saving 10 million tons of CO2 per year, helping Europe to achieve the 55% CO2 reduction emission by 2030. The project will correspond, the electricity correspond to 4.5 billion cubic meter of gas production. And to put that into perspective, Egypt produces about 49, so about 10% of Egypt's natural gas production will be given through this green project. And I think also having the strategic position of Egypt with Africa, the potential is endless. I mean, the sky is the limit, as you say.
Sir, to what extent the project has represented actually a strategic step for enhancing the energy and the security of the energy in the region, and the European Union being actually the first direct link for the clean energy from Egypt to Europe via Greece?
The security for energy and the diversification of energy for the European community, it's definitely an issue. And what we have seen after Ukraine-Russia war, that's definitely European community, they will not repeat the same mistake.
They did learn their lesson.
They learned their lesson the hard way. So they will, and Egypt, with our natural resources, our political stability, our excellent infrastructure. Egypt spent in the last 10 years $550 billion on infrastructure that allow us to be the first choice of secure, diverse, reliable and competitive source of green energy. It's not only about renewable energy, but it's also about green hydrogen and green fertilizers. And we see the appetite of European community toward Egypt during President Macron's visit. French company signed agreements with Egypt for renewable and green hydrogen. There is a lot of European company and even company from Poland, which is Central Europe, interested to have similar project in Egypt, because when we look at the European Investment Bank report and talking about the green hydrogen, Egypt presents, out of the 50 million tons Africa can provide of the green hydrogen, 40% of that only coming from Egypt. So it's definitely, it's in their interest, of course, in the European community. European community is the main trade partner with Egypt. Proximity, stability, labor forces, talented labor forces, you name it. It's all the ingredients are there for us to be the hub of the green hydrogen, green energy in North Africa. And Egypt, we are building the Mediterranean bridge between global north and global south.
Indeed. Sir, also President Sisi affirmed that the project enjoys strong political and governmental support from both Egypt and Greece to advance its various phases. What is actually the significance of such support in light of the project's inclusion in the list of the project's common interest and the mutual benefit for the European Union?
It is significant. You have the head of state for both countries are behind such project. His Excellency President Sisi met with the chairman of that company during his last visit to Greece. That's giving that commitment from the head of state for both countries, facilitate a lot of things and will allow to overcome any challenges will come through the execution of the project. And it's an example. We will be enhanced for more and more green energy export to Europe, and Egypt will be pioneer in that.
Indeed. Sir, how will actually the electricity interconnection project mark a real shift in the relations between Egypt and Greece, enabling the transfer of the clean energy from Egypt to Europe for the first time ever?
It is significant. Europe will be relying on the green energy from Egypt. We have also to mention that the maritime agreement between Egypt and Greece in September 2020 helped, because and same with Cyprus as well. It helped actually the discovery of Zohr field, because actually we finished the maritime basically agreement with these countries. So it will definitely help to have enhanced relation. Egypt and Greece relation goes many years, many
historical
years.
Ties and partnerships.
We have second, third, maybe fourth generation of Greece Egyptians. So the relation has always been good, and it will enhance when it comes to natural gas. Egypt, Greece, Cyprus, and the rest of the country established the Mediterranean Gas Forum, and that was due to the excellent relation between Egypt, Greece, and Cyprus. And after that, many countries are now member of this Middle East Gas Forum. So the relation has been good and will continue to be good. It's very strategic, and stuff like energy is a vehicle of the economy, will strengthen such partnership and relation.
Yes, and as you have kindly mentioned, sir, that the strategic partnership in the field of electricity and energy, in particular between Egypt, Greece, and Cyprus, is very important. Sir, to what extent the Egyptian Egyptian-Greek electrical interconnection project has actually represented a key step in opening new horizon of cooperation and transfer of clean electrical energy from Egypt to Europe for the first time, and to what extent the European countries would benefit from such strategic partnership between Egypt and Greece?
Okay. For us in Egypt is significant, because that Greece company, they are planning to invest to produce 9,500 megawatt of green energy. 3,000 only will be exported, so the rest will remain in Egypt. Egypt potential as far as green energy concern, we can produce up to 61,000 megawatt by 2035. We are now producing 7.5, closing to 8. So the potential is there. You see all this mega project, regional company like Masdar from UAE and from Saudi, and of course in Egypt as well, and all this European company. So I don't want us to underestimate the potential of Egypt, and I think the investment environment to encourage foreign investors and encourage private sector in general. I saw a report from the Minister of Investment. Egypt want to get back the percentage of the private sector involvement up to 65 to 70% of the total investment. So all is there. We need the Egyptian private sector. Of
course.
It's very important to participate in that, and having this sort of energy supplying between, and I'm not talking only about this 3,000 megawatt. I'm confident this will be tripled, quadrupled. It will go on. It will strengthen the relation with Egypt and the rest of Africa. We are also connecting power to Saudi. We have already power to Jordan, to Libya. So that neighboring country, all can be distributed to all these countries.
Yes. In relation to what you have kindly mentioned, the planned 3,000 megawatts capacity cable will stretch nearly 1,000 kilometers under the Eastern Mediterranean and secure backing from the EU, making it eligible for significant funding from the bloc. How will the project allow Europe actually to import the low-cost energy, primarily wind energy, which you are able to produce very competitively and export it to the European countries as well?
I like to use competitive energy rather than low-cost energy, so we are giving them a low competitive, reliable. So reliability is very important because it is sustainable energy. So this is, you cannot see that in other countries. Europe have picked Egypt in North Africa. There are similar countries in North Africa, but because the outlook, the environment, the political stability. I think Egypt demonstrated, regardless of what's happening surrounding us, the geopolitics
the situation is very turbulent,
and
actually.
I use this opportunity to salute President Sisi for tremendous effort to protect our people and protect our nation in this very difficult and challenging situation. So we demonstrated that. We demonstrated our experience to develop the infrastructure, and we are keen to pass this infrastructure experience to the rest of Africa and whoever wants us. The reconstruction of, after we hope peace will come to all this country, and Egypt is ready to help with rebuilding this country, because for the well-being of all the Arab people and the Middle East countries.
Yes, indeed, sir. Actually, for Greek and European stakeholders, does the project offer a reliable energy source and a chance to bolster the energy security amid the global volatility?
Of course, and as we mentioned, you have a stable country with rich with natural resources. We will be definitely reliable, secured, and as we said earlier, European community learn the lesson for the project to be qualified to this PCI and PMI qualification of European community, goes through many criteria, and the project has been approved and the fund is allocated for this project. So they wouldn't invest in something they don't, they know that they are getting the return. Yes.
As for Egypt, sir, how does the project represent a strategic economic opportunity for Egypt and a chance to position itself as a regional energy hub?
Very good. Egypt has been working significantly to be an energy hub, and I don't want to be biased, it is a fact. We represent a hub for energy in North and East, North Mediterranean and East East Mediterranean and North Africa, of course. We have all the ingredients. If we talk about pipeline, we have pipeline comes from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. We have all these ports which work. Of course. We upgrade all this port. We have Suez Canal, and we see what happened.
Tremendous work, actually, as you have mentioned, was done to develop these ports as well.
Suez Canal, we see what happened to the supply chain all over the world. With if there's any issue with the Suez Canal, we have the LNG in Damietta and Rosetta sorry, Edco and Damietta in the north of Egypt. So we have all the ingredients. Adding to that, building this green corridor, and I'd like to use green corridor term because we are established green corridor to supply green renewable energy from Egypt and from the rest of Africa to Europe through this, I would like to call it the Mediterranean bridge, however it's under the sea.
Yes, indeed, and we'll be taking this report and we'll get back to our debate here concerning the electricity cooperation between Egypt and Greece. Egypt and Greece signed a strategic partnership declaration in Athens. More details in the following report.
Egypt and Greece have entered a new phase of bilateral cooperation with the signing of a strategic partnership declaration marking a significant leap in the evolution of ties between the two Eastern Mediterranean countries. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis signed the strategic partnership declaration between the two countries. President el-Sisi said the declaration marks the beginning of a new phase of close cooperation between Egypt and Greece in various fields. The head of state affirmed Cairo's keenness to strengthen the strategic partnership with Greece based on strong historical ties and mutual respect. For his part, the Greek premier said the signing of the strategic partnership declaration between Greece and Egypt confirms a common will to further close cooperation. They agreed to consult regularly, and the memorandums of cooperation being signed pave important new paths that will strengthen the bilateral relationship. President el-Sisi and the Greek Prime Minister chaired the inaugural meeting of the High-Level Cooperation Council between Egypt and Greece, reviewing bilateral cooperation and progress on ongoing joint projects in various fields. This council marks a milestone and a qualitative leap in Egyptian-Greek relations and serves as an effective platform to deepen the two countries' strategic partnership for the benefit of their peoples and promote regional security, stability and prosperity. The Council further supports integrating and exchanging expertise in critical areas including transportation, environment, maritime security, education, manufacturing and energy. President el-Sisi welcomed the consensus following the meeting to expand cooperation in economy, trade, investment, tourism, technology, innovation and entrepreneurship. The two sides discussed the Egypt-Greece electricity interconnection project, which they described as a strategic step to enhance the region and the EU's energy security, being the first project that directly delivers clean energy from Egypt to Europe via Greece. In addition, the President emphasized continuing cooperation with Greece in natural gas and highlighted the importance of speeding up the seasonal labor agreement that allows Egyptian workers to enter Greece's agricultural sector and other fields. For his part, the Greek Prime Minister affirmed that the electricity interconnection project will benefit the two nations and thanked President el-Sisi for the agreement on Egyptian labor, further confirming the two countries' commitment to deepening cooperation across all sectors. The two sides also discussed the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, current developments in the Eastern Mediterranean and Egypt-Greece-Cyprus trilateral cooperation mechanism. President el-Sisi expressed appreciation for the current efforts to de-escalate tensions in the region and emphasized the need to build on these positive efforts to help resolve ongoing disputes and ensure the region's natural resources benefit its people. President el-Sisi stressed Egypt's interest in the distinguished partnership it shares with Greece, which is a strong pillar of bilateral and regional cooperation.
Welcome back. Continuing our debate here with our dear guest, engineer Hussein Al-Ghazawy. Sir, as for Egypt, how does the project align with its Vision 2030 goals to expand its green economy and attract the FDI in the sustainable infrastructure?
Definitely with Egypt Vision for 2030, so for sustainable development. You cannot find a project such that it's a perfect example and fulfill a lot of also the United Nations development, sustainability development goals. And actually, if you allow me, I'd like to comment about this partnerships agreement.
Yes.
And what I like about it as well, this allowing of the seasonal labor to go to Greece to help during, harvest or farming. And I think that example can be used to other European countries
Yes.
through organized and structured
Travel.
basically use the people. We've been farming for 7,000 years. We know how to farm. We fed
Of course.
we fed all the world in the past, and
Yeah,
we'll feed the world again. So it's very interesting. So back to your question again, it's that partnership and this project is definitely in full alignment with Egypt vision for 2030.
Yep. Sir, how can actually the electrical interconnection project enable Greece and Europe to import cheap energy, the solar as well as the wind from Egypt?
Again, I like to use competitive
Yes.
energy, so it is a competitive
Yes.
energy.
The solar energy as well, because we are sunny most of the year.
And wind as well. Don't
Yes.
ignore the wind. I mean, for those traveling to Hurghada, you see all this
Yes,
wind farm
throughout the roads.
Zafarana and Jabal al-Zayt.
Indeed.
And actually, if we look at the technology, the solar and wind technology have came long way in terms of cost, so it is definitely very, very attractive. Country like China is leading the entire world in basically producing renewable energy. You'll be surprised that China presents more than 50%, 50 to 60% of the added renewable energy. One important thing, and I think His Excellency the President is pushing for that, is the manufacture of all these components, all the solar plates, the wind component in Egypt. And also, if we talk about the green hydrogen, the most important part of the green hydrogen is the electrolyzers, which is very important, which to basically separate use the renewable energy to separate the hydrogen from the oxygen. So all this stuff, Egypt is aiming to manufacture that. In earlier we saw the report about the Suez Canal economic zone, the perfect place for all this localize this industry. And it's not only to localize this in this industry, but also it will allow all these foreign companies to export to the rest of the world, having a competitive price using our labor force and our strategic position.
Yes. Sir, do you believe that the EU would actually support the project throughout its different phases, as it is not only of benefit to Egypt and Greece, but to whole of the European Union states as till the phase of its finalization?
Indeed, and as we said earlier, it qualifies all the European community criteria, for which, and one of these criteria is that has to serve more than 2 countries. It will serve more than 2 countries, that's for sure. And it's a good example. European community will, or European Union will be used with others. I think it's a very strategic and important project. The project will be done in 5 years, inshallah. So I think that's very important to see our green energy lighting the houses and the factories in Greece and the rest of Europe. It is significant for us.
Indeed. Sir, how would you describe the intensifying joint efforts exerted by the specialized authorities and government officials in both Egypt and Greece in order to continue the feasibility studies of the project and to carry out its different phases in order to finish the project, as you have kindly mentioned, within a limited time frame?
Actually, one of the main things it's done now with the studies is the optimal routes of the cable under the sea to basically to Greece. And it was talks in the past. Let's see how it goes with the visibility study. That cable might also split to go to Italy as well. Again, that was discussed before. So I think having the commitment from the leadership of both countries, and having the commitment from the European Union as well, will allow this project to enhance and to go as planned, and we'll keep our finger crossed to finish in time.
I hope so. Sir, as Egypt is keen actually to generate the electricity from the renewable sources ahead of transferring it to Europe, how do you view the state's actually eagerness to finalize the electrical interconnection project to secure the energy to the EU countries by Egypt in light of its comprehensive strategic partnerships?
As we said, we have the resources, we have the potential. 61,000 megawatt of renewable energy. It is significant to produce, and we spoke about the interconnect already exists with Libya, Sudan, and Saudi Arabia, and from Saudi Arabia to the rest of the GCC. To Jordan as well, from Jordan to
we are seeing here a massive network.
Of course, it is a significant network, and for example, we could have given more electricity to Sudan, but because the infrastructure for Sudan need further development, and there is work in progress. So we are ready. From when it comes to our network infrastructure, we are ready to give basically the surplus and what will come from the renewable. And I think what's happening, I think we spoke about this project in details, but we need to highlight there is a lot of renewable projects going on across Egypt. I think the government is working very actively to accelerate all this project, to facilitate issues. Few weeks ago was the Prime Minister talking about challenging when it comes to the land assignment of this renewable energy project to overcome all that. So we have the commitment. So this is good. The 3,000 megawatt to significant of that is crossing to Europe. But there is a lot going on when it comes to solar and wind.
And we did actually see during the past few years a significant work and development in these two particular sources of energy, the solar and wind. And it is seen by our bare eyes when, as you have kindly mentioned, traveling to Hurghada or in Aswan, the Bimban plant.
Bimban is the biggest solar park in the world, and it had awarded a lot of prizes. It was in 2019. So, and let's not also ignore the hydropower between the high dam and whatever across the Nile. We produce almost 2.8 of gigawatts, or 2,800 megawatts. So again, we still have hydropower contribute.
Yes.
Diversification of the renewable was a Daba nuclear power that's give Egypt the full hydro, solar, wind, and nuclear power.
Indeed. Sir, since you are our dear guest for tonight, today 3 oil and gas discoveries were made in Egypt's Western Desert and the Gulf of Suez. It was announced by the Ministry of Petroleum. According to the ministry, the capacity of the well in the Western Desert are expected to be 30 million cubic feet of gas per day. How do you see this announcement by the Ministry of Petroleum earlier today?
It is good, and it will not stop. It will continue. There is a lot of potential when it comes to the Western Desert, and the ministry is working actively to encourage the existing company to invest more and to bring new player. There is a lot of changing in the agreement to make the deals are more attractive because people need
to invest.
Gulf of Suez, despite the fact the Gulf of Suez has been producing over 6 years, Gulf of Suez remain good source of energy in Egypt, and I think there is a lot of work being done on reprocessing the seismic data of the Gulf of Suez. That's why we will see new discoveries as well. And Mediterranean being the biggest and most important when it comes to the gas potential. We see the discoveries with the major American company a few months ago. There is a new horizon west of Egypt, all this deep water. So I think the future is bright for us, and all this discovery, we understand that we are now back to import, but because our production, our consumption increase, there is demands, we growing, there is a lot of factories, there is a lot of industry, and we are hosting also another 10 million people from other countries.
Huge burden, actually.
So that's there is all pressure on our resources, but we are overcoming that with a good plan in hand.
Yes, sir, that would bring me to ask about the FDI, the foreign direct investment in the field of electricity and energy. How do you evaluate it, and do you expect it to witness more increases with all the developments taking place, with all the discoveries that we have been mentioning, as well as the development in the field of renewable energy as well?
In general, the FDI, Egypt has been #1 in Africa for attracting FDI in the last few years in the sector of energy, whether it's renewable. I'm coming from oil and gas, so I don't want to disregard the oil and gas. We will still have oil and gas,
of course,
for the interim, to basically for the energy. We see what President Trump is doing. He's drilling again in areas he stopped drilling. So again, for taking all the measures for the environment, and I believe the natural gas, not the oil, is important for this energy transition. So back to us, we have all that, and I think the effort is done by the government to encourage and overcome all this the issues is important. FDI is important, but I would like to see more of Egyptian private companies coming to invest in...
That would bring me to my next question, sir. What, from your point of view, could be the role here played by the private sector in these domains in particular?
I think private sector has a very important role. If I'm a foreign investors and I see the good experience or the good result of the local private sector, that will encourage me. I think we have many excellent and well-presented businessmen with investment in various places, and would like to invest I encourage them to invest in their own countries. Let's not forget about the mineral future of Egypt. We are 1 million square kilometers. We saw what happened with Sukkari mine, gold mine. We are producing 600 ounces this year, which is a good number, which was nobody even expected that to have it. We have other rare earth mineral and metal. We saw what's happened between US and Ukraine about the importance of the minerals. So we have the minerals, we have the gas, we have the oil, we have the natural resources, and definitely we are a perfect place for FDI to come, but with more active and visible role of the private sector.
The Egyptian private sector.
Egyptian private sector.
Yes. Sir, Egypt hosted the annual reception of Peace and Unity in Europe last Sunday, bringing more than 400 European and 400 Egyptian dignitaries and international partners. Do you see that this event has an excellent opportunity for companies and organizations to promote their brands and activities through cooperation, sponsorship and collaboration with the European partners as well?
Definitely, and actually I think that forum or that conference, we want to see start-up companies using Egypt as a hub. We want to see start-up European company using Egypt as a hub. How can you find a place definitely more competitive than Europe to establish a startup project, and you have a market on your next door. Egypt is a big market.
Of
We
course.
should not ignore the strengths of our market, and accessibility to the Middle East and Africa, and of course, being a European company, they will also export to Europe. So I think Egypt should definitely, this forum and other is important, and we need to encourage more of the European, African, whatever startup to use Egypt as a hub.
Indeed. Engineer Hussein Al-Ghazawy, energy and industry expert, it was a real pleasure to have you with us tonight. Thank you so
very
much,
much.
sir. Our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of our daily debate for tonight. I'm Hussein. Many thanks for watching.